All right, so here we are. We're back together again. DayTraderRockStar here with you with the second half of the watch list here, the real watch list. Now, I've been, I said, wow, really great rally today. The market here just almost all-time highs. Everything's kind of extended. How am I going to find some new great setups here? I mean, we're going to still surround ourselves with some really great stocks, and that's our first thing we have to remember. Surround yourself with greatness. Greatness will help you a lot, and follow the trend. A lot of people will think, well, we might sell off into this, and there's a good shot that we actually get a little selling early next week, but there's also a good shot that we actually continue on, and my overall bias is up. So let me put that on the table. First of all, I'm not looking for any shorts right now. If a short does appear to us, we get a really good short signal, be it a HPS short signal, which I do my scans for. But the trend, like I said, this market here, and I went over this a few times during the week. We take a look at this weekly chart, and you can see a pretty decent flag here. The last time we kind of consolidated for a while was back here 2011, 2012, and we pretty much went sideways for about a year. Then kind of broke out of that and really rallied up, and now we've been chopping around sideways for a while, and we're just about ready to break out again. And you have to remember the overall markets. The overall markets are historically bullish. I mean, we go out on the monthly, go all the way back to the 80s, to the 90s. Yeah, we've had our issues. The tech bubble, yes. The financial meltdown, yes. And then maybe here a little, what looks to be a little consolidation, 2000, what was this? That's 2012 right here. Well, just a little chop, Yeah, maybe it is considered the, some of the things that are happening around the world. But you can see we're consolidating, and this is on a huge monthly chart. This is something that we don't normally look at. But just I want to give you a bigger perspective here. That the trend is typically your friend, and we can't time this too well. We can't time when we're going to have these big pullbacks. We have to listen for it. We have to know what to look for. We have to feel that there is something wrong with the markets, and right now I'm not seeing that much. Unemployment numbers came in really good. They're definitely thinking of raising rates, which kind of spooks the market, but it's in a way that they're going to talk about it so much. By the time they come around raising those rates, the market will be fully prepared for it, and we'll take it as a good signal, and it will probably rally on that. So, those short-term little things, I wouldn't worry about them as much as the overall trend here. So we want to concentrate on that. But what I did do, and I'm probably going to start off here with this, because I did do a full scan of all dailies, everything. I could tell you that, hey, continue to get into Verizon on every pullback. That's a given. But again, you could see that the daily is extended here. The daily is extended. We might be pulling back, and it's so much better when you see a setup on Verizon. And it says oversold. All right, back in October here, last October, oversold. If you took that oversold off, yeah, nice trade up. Got overbought, pulled back. Next time it got oversold. Nice move up. All the way up, pulled all the way back. Got oversold. Look at that nice rally. Then it pulled all the way back. Next time it got oversold. Yes, it had a bias to the upside. It rotated back down. Here we had a rotation. It got back into oversold level. And then boom, all the way back up. There's definitely an edge, a big edge, being on the side of the daily rotation. Right now, that rotation here is starting to pull back here, and we don't know if it's really going to. My guess is that we kind of push back up when we started getting embedded here, and people are going to start to realize this market is the real deal, and we might even start to chop around up here and just continue the trend. So I do like the Verizon. I make my argument with the bandwidth and. We can see what's going on in the world. AT&T is the same thing. Nice little flag, but we're pointing back down. So, this gives you the great opportunity when you get a rotation, right? The daily does, but we're not there. So, is it 100% ready to rock? Do we have a divergence? Do we have a pattern? No, we don't. No, we don't. But is it a quality name? Yes, we do. Yes, it is. But it's not a typical HPS setup, and those HPS setups deserve to be classified as an HPS setup, and really deserve to have their own special mark on the chart, but we're not seeing that. We're seeing great stocks here, but just a different type of setup. A very bullish flag. We're rotating back down, but this could turn back up. We have no gauge on that. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, all right, say the daily is not set up perfectly, but then we talk about the hourlies and the hourlies. The hourlies, we tend to trade on the hourlies a lot, but that's not what I'm talking about either. You know what I'm talking about now? You hear what I'm... So during my research, and I'm breaking down all these stocks, and I have them, I said, all right, I want to go over Humana. There's a great opportunity probably in Humana with the merger with Aetna and the Department of Justice, whoever's coming out here, kind of maybe squashing the deal, regulatory issues and stuff. And this pulled back, and this was for a $230 I think it was $220, so it's down here at 158. It almost looks like the deal is not going to happen. But that's something I could point you in that direction and think we might be on top of that next week. That one in Aetna has a little pullback. Nice hammer on Aetna, very nice hammer, and this could actually be a nice divergence. So there will be divergences where we take out the lows, close higher. We don't take out the lows here. If this turns back up higher, it actually could be a great setup here on Aetna, which I do like. And then, of course, we have our tobacco stocks. These are all very strong. Again, the same situation. We have decent flags holding the 20-period moving average. These are rolled over a little, but doesn't mean that we're not going to turn back up and kind of get embedded. And you could just go right down the line with the Altria, MO, Philip Morris, right at the highs. These are all trading at the highs, and I can't expect them just to kind of pull back here. So I think these are still great setups. It's nothing even technical we have to worry about. You just need to get in and hold them. Preferably get in when the 60-minute time frame is rotated back down. If you're not getting the daily, you might not get the daily. You have to wait for that 60. Here's the last time this 60, and that was a nice move up. And then back here, there was a nice 60 rotation up. And we just had one here, 60-minute time frame, and it's starting to rotate. But look at this. We got overextended in, and we didn't take out the highs. So, again, you have to have that time frame in your, even down to the 60-minute time frame. That's the important part. So, great stocks, but I can't recommend them. I'm not going to tell you to get in at the highs and stuff, but that's something to pay attention to. We're going to pay attention to these all the time and pay attention to the 60-minute time frame. So that'll be an active part of the show next week. DGX here, Quest Diagnostics, very strong. It had a back here in last May, June. We were actually trading this, and it had a spike here, and it was some kind of acquisition rumor or something. It spiked up around $89, $90. It's at $82 now. It's making its way back up there. Again, the same situation, kind of extended. Great looking stock though, and 60-minute time frame hasn't rotated back down. Again, another great setup. I'd wait on the 60. Just concentrate on having that 60 rotation. And again, don't worry. I want to go over these. I want to have these in focus next week, so we will be able to time these 60-minute rotations. The ones that we're going over right now will be most of the stocks that I'll continue to monitor, and I will monitor them on the 60 and give you alerts. We'll give you the 60-minute alert when they do happen. But there is, this short list, the Adobe here. Adobe, I actually like the Adobe here a lot too. Nice consolidation at $48, recent highs. It's actually looks like a decent little divergence over here too. It does look good. It looks fine. Looks like new highs are coming up on Adobe. This is trending up. It's not extended. So the other one, Adobe. Let me circle some of these down here. Adobe, GGX, AMT. American Tower. We are banging the table on this last couple weeks. Right alongside the telecom stocks. And again, these own the towers. The telecom own some of these towers. The American Tower Company. Just continues to show great strength. This is also extended, and hourly's also off of that recent pullback and give us a nice pop. So you go back to the hourly here. Last time it was oversold. Beautiful pop. You go back to last time it was oversold. There was a little divergence here and a nice little pop. We can go all the way back. You just know the rule is that you're going to have a better opportunity when you're trading with the trend and you have that 60-minute rotation starting off pushing higher for your longs, or extended and rolling over for your shorts. So just that should be a checklist for you. It should definitely be a checklist for you on any trade you're getting into, because it's an obvious indicator. It's very obvious to be on the right side of a 60-minute time frame. You need to pay attention to this. If anything from this video, even if you're not getting the best setups, just remember 60-minute time frame. Proof is in the pudding. The pudding is looking at the chart. Each one of these setups, you had a bias to the upside when you got oversold and you started turning and crossing and moving up. Sometimes it happens fast, sometimes it's a gradual move, but the bias, the trend, understanding, you have a lot on your side when you're doing this. Right now, you're flipping a coin. Is Monday going to rotate back? We're going to pull back. Great companies, but you can't officially put them on the list. Now, I'm not typically a big fan of stocks under $30, but I am a big fan of divergences. Media company here, 21st Century Fox. You can see a couple big pivot area back here, but a nice little channel here. And what do you see? Well, I think we can see our first real true divergence here. A nice cross back up above the 20. This actually kind of came down, took out the lows, or we just put in a double bottom, which is just as good right here. So you have that double bottom, came back here, maybe even a true divergence where we took out the lows there. And we kind of crossed back up above that 20 line, put in that nice divergence. And it's starting to make a move, and it made a nice move today. So it's not bad. I like that we have that bigger trend line above us, about 29. It's 27.70. There's a gap area, 28.30. I like the divergence a lot. I think it's worth a shot. I checked the options on it. Very little option activity on it. Probably better with common shares, and to look for this pattern to break out to the upside. It's not the most exciting one, but it is a divergence, and I want to bring that to you. That's my job. Bring you any type of good divergences. I have a feeling that it is going to work out fine. I don't have a position in it, and I have it written down. I'll make a chart on it for you guys. But anytime you have that divergence, I wouldn't look for too much of a pullback. But I would say your entry zone probably between 27 and 27 and 27.80. It's up against the 20-period moving average. See what happens on Monday. But it does look pretty good. If any type of crossover here or push back down under the 20, I would bail on it. But I don't think that's actually going to happen. I like, I kind of like that divergence. And again, our short-term target here, even though there's a little resistance here, 28.26. That 50-period moving average, 28.66. It's almost a buck higher. So I think you get 75 cents out of this, and then possibly much more, possibly up to 2 points. Now I'm going to bring you up this other great one here, and again, this is going to bring me back into the bigger thing I want to talk about today on the watch list. And this is kind of cool, and I enjoyed, when we do see a signal like this, such something that comes out so clear. So just take a look at the LUV, the Southwestern Airlines, typical divergence setup, lower trend line, 1, 2, 3 pattern. All right, these are the time frames we've been working at, and we know that. That's a great level. What are you showing? Is it worth getting into now? Well, we are extended here on the daily. It looks good. I mean, overall, you have your great spots. Your X marks the spot, the reversal candle, the oversold divergences. Those are the great spots. This might just be getting going. So what I did today is actually I started looking at some weekly charts, and I want to start off. We're going to come back to Southwest. I want to start off with Costco. And we're going to look at the weekly. And it's just because it's such we talk about stocks that are good quality names. First of all, we have to have our HPS 40 list. Stocks that we surround ourselves, do our research on. Costco would be one of them. A lot of these stocks that we just pay attention every single, MasterCard, anything like this would be, so when you look at that weekly time frame, we don't look at it too much. And when you have a nice upward trending market, or even a stock or a company and stuff, those times that you get a pullback on that weekly oscillator here tends to be one of the, some of the best entries. All right. And you could go back and just back test it. The same thing to the downside. But remember, we're dealing with an uptrend. So with an uptrend, the buy signals are better than the sell signals. The sell signals could get embedded. It could be choppy up here as we continue to grind higher. But as you can see, each time we come down, it's usually a fast rotation back up, And we're using that 20 line as our indicator line, So once we get down under that 20 line, that's when we start to look for maybe the possibility of a new uptrend or a longer-term uptrend. And then the same thing, once you're extended here, you have a better chance for a longer-term downtrend. But we're only paying attention on the on stocks like this when we get down into an oversold level, especially when we have a flag or a continuation. Look at this. This is a nice little flag. This is, this was back in January, or where was this? This is 2015, August, September. But we got oversold, and we have a big pop on the weekly there. And from that point on, it really did grind back up. We had a little dip here, a little divergence that happened. It was a real wicked divergence on the weekly. It looks like a daily setup there. But the fact was that we actually made that rotation back up. It came back out oversold again. Then it went up. Remember, each one of these candlesticks represents a week's time, 5 days trading. So this it could be a whole month, easy, a couple months. Seeing a weekly signal, a flag setup in a whole month. You have upside bias here. It's not that we're going to be in the trade, but this is important because once you come across a setup like this, you might have other options, other ways of trading. You might want to say, all right, well, maybe I could actually position something in my IRA into a setup that it has a weekly setup. Now, the reason I'm talking about this today is because I did a full scan on the watch list on a weekly time frame, and it came up with some amazing results. So this is going out here, and this also leads me to believe that we still have more upside in the overall market. But now we could take a look at that weekly time frame. Even though the daily is sometimes extended, we might see something new on that weekly. So just to show you what we're looking for in these upward trending markets, because my bias is the upside, I'm looking for weekly setups that are just about ready to move back up. Maybe they pull back and stuff. And I actually have quite a few here, which tells me that, as things are, we could get a nice push starting next week. So let's start off with, we were just taking a look at LUV, by the way. All right, LUV. So we'll go back to that one. This is on the daily. This is the weekly. This is the weekly because I had it set up for the weekly. So we're just talking about flag, oversold levels. Got oversold level flag, nice move up. Last time we were oversold down here, chopped around a couple weeks, started moving back up. Way back here, last time we got back down here, the same thing, big move up. So this appears to be starting to turn back up right now. It's a decent flag. I'm not going to go out and say head and shoulders formation, stuff like that. I'm looking at the rotation here, the overall trend. Not a bad setup here on the LUV. So that's one of them. I don't think I'm getting into this based off of this setup, but I want to just show you so you can mark them down. We have quite a few to go over right now, and that's what I'm going to concentrate on today is the weekly time frame. And from that point on, and like I said, I am actually going to do this. I'm actually going to make a video. In the next video I do, I might try to do it tonight, but I'm going to try to show you how I'm going to do my IRA and allocate some of these some things for maybe a medium-term trade. So we'll take a look at the stocks here that we're going to be talking about. These are potential IRA trades. Any type of retirement fund, any type of things that you don't want to get in and out. You want to hold for maybe a month, couple months, maybe even a couple years, But these are going to be quality names. But in this case, I want to be talking about the overbought levels on the weekly, and they look good to go now. What I noticed, and going into this week, we made good profits on our drug stocks. We got out of the Gilead with nice profit. Everything else worked out good. We have some HPS setups. The Biogen is an HPS setup, but basically all the drug stocks, all the quality names are setting up very similar to this one. Here is Biogen. Now Biogen here, usually a quality name. This is, remember, we're looking at the weekly time frame here. Just getting oversold on the weekly and starting to turn back up here. Also, this weekly channel. Now we can look at the daily here. Yeah, we're extended a bit, but you can see that bigger channel. I like it down here. I really do like the drugs. I have a feeling we're not going to get much of a pullback here, and this Biogen might be on its way. I should have pulled the trigger today on this. This is an HPS setup. It's already on the watch list, and it looks great for a move up here. Now add this weekly setup here. That even looks better. All right, it even looks much better. So there's our first one. Now all the other stocks here surrounding that are going to be ALXN, Alexion Pharmaceutical. Take a look at this. Lower trend line, oversold weekly. This, of course, they have a tremendous run here from 2011, 2012, $45 all the way up to like $200. Now it's pulled back to $124. But the weekly, again, the trend was up here. We are seeing some nice bounces, and each bounce does come with a rotation here. So I think there's a great opportunity here for a rotation at Alexion Pharmaceuticals. I like this one. So I'll mark this one down. Where's my pen again? Here it is. ALXN. Like that for next week. I really do. I really do like this one for next week. With the daily is still like kind of hanging in there. It's not fully extended yet. But remember, we're going to pay attention to also the 60-minute time frame. We want to have at least something in our favor if we're going to try to take this. Or is it going to be straight out of the gate, all these drug stocks going to run really hard, and we're going to be kind of left in the dust? But that is one also. I like write it down, do what you need to do to, if you're more familiar with this stock than other ones, then I'm fine. I'm not as familiar with Alexion Pharmaceuticals as I am with Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer or Biogen, Eli Lilly, but I do trade this one, so I'm pretty interested in it. Now Celgene, here's your weekly, and again same thing, weekly rotation on all these drugs. That we haven't seen that in a while. When we do see it, again, it usually points to an opportunity. And this one, again, you can see the pullback and trying to push a little bit higher. So I do like all these drug stocks going into next week. And I didn't even do a full scan of these. AbbVie is more of a recent spin-off, but it still looks good off of that divergence. That's another nice one. Of course, Pfizer. I didn't do a weekly scan on Pfizer because I knew that probably would not be justified. Weekly here, it's not bad. I mean, yeah, this is totally different. But what happened when the weekly was oversold on Pfizer? Well, that was your only opportunity. Look at the move here from the oversold weekly and where it went. So, again, the last time it was oversold back here, we had nice little ramp-ups. But this was really a wedge pattern, oversold weekly. Probably a daily setup here, divergence, something going on back here. So it's not, that doesn't qualify for a weekly setup. But the Gilead does, and I like the Gilead, one of the best ones, actually. I was a little concerned with it. We took profits on it today. We made, we did well with it, and I think we're going to continue to do well with it. But now we have that 60. We have a weekly divergence. You could actually qualify this higher low and that lower low as a weekly divergence. You don't see that too often. You definitely don't see that too often. So here we have Gilead. Last time it got oversold down here, we ramped up nicely. And then remember, each candlestick represents a week, so that's like 2 months of uptrend. Then before that, only last time we were back here and we had this nice little pullback, and then it flagged out perfectly and moved back up. I mean, that was just a great opportunity. So here we are again. We're oversold with a divergence. it looks great. It looks great going into next week. I think we could take this out a little bit further with some more options. Circle that one off. Take a look at Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly is actually crossed back up here on the weekly already. It's actually been showing good relative strength. I think this is actually a much better signal because you actually have that upward momentum already building versus being oversold and having to wait for it to turn back up to get that move. So, Eli Lilly, really a nice, just a nice flag and a bigger uptrend. You could picture how this is going to play out, just like this played out back here. It wasn't as wide as a flag, but it was basically the same situation where we get a little consolidation pullback and then a follow through, and this is what we're getting right now, a little consolidation pullback, and we're getting a nice follow through. I think it's a great long-term hold right here, and that's on the weekly, and the weekly already turned back up and we're heading up. Everything about this looks pretty good. The daily, of course, is extended, and that becomes an issue, but I have a feeling we're actually going to move up on this. The 60-minute also is extended. What would be great would be just a nice rotation back down a little, maybe even I don't expect it to happen though. So if we did get a move back here, a little rotation back to 75, that's a big pullback in my book. I would say maybe if you got 77, 78, you'd be lucky, and maybe we could look for that on this hourly chart, the rotation, or at least get the rotation down a little bit further before jumping back in. But I would say that also is setting up pretty good and even better because of the weekly. So I'll write that one down too. I think these are going to be definitely on my focus list early next week. Alexion, Gilead, Eli Lilly, and then I even and Biogen. I think Biogen is probably one of the bigger movers. Great with options. And that's also high on the list. And I think that one is going to be one of my first entries of Monday. And these are all based off the weekly, so we're going to have to work on, how we're going to approach that, because I think there could be a longer-term trend up here, and we want to just take advantage of it. I also looked at the IBB, and the IBB wasn't set up as perfect as it's pointed down. It could turn back up here. We could actually start to see a big divergence play out on this. This could be actually great because you have this type of a support line down here, almost you might even say that's a divergence, and you could actually see a divergence play out here. It'd be great for this sector. Great. So that's the biotechs and pharmaceutical drugs stocks there, and they're looking really good. But we're going to continue on because I did a lot of scans on this, and I just want to get them all out here. So another great weekly setup is in Berkshire Hathaway. I really do like the weekly flag here. Again, you talk about opportunities in a great company. Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett here, oversold. Last time was oversold, pushed back there. Even here where we got oversold, it chopped around and then we started moving back up. And even if you get a move back up, once you fail that move, you still have time to get out. So I think right now this is all clear to go. For any type of failure, you just get out of it. But most of the time, you're going to get a nice rotation. I think this is golden right here, golden on the weekly. Right? You see, if this was a daily setup, it would be all over that. Now take a look at the daily. The daily, you see that chart hanging in there. It actually pulled back to a trend line and bounced off of it. And we're kind of extended here, 60-minute, of course, but we can't get too concerned with that if we're looking at that weekly chart. And also, if we continue to think the markets might be moving a little bit higher here, these are the pullbacks you wait for in quality names. Berkshire Hathaway, definitely a quality name. So put that on your list if you're interested. And again, I think these type of setups right now in the weekly time frame are not perfect for for all next week, but these are now. I think we have to focus in on these because for me, I want to start taking advantage of these bigger opportunities, and I think this is we could even use it for trading your IRA or something towards that effect. Kind of put yourself in a better position to gain a little bit more you know, a bigger advantage on getting some gains out of those things. So take a look at these setups. Next one coming up, CVS. Look at this CVS just starting to turn up on the weekly. This is another textbook one. We got oversold here. We moved up here for a couple weeks, chopped around, but did move up. Here it looks great. Another great flag. I think we're going to move up to new highs on this. That's weekly. Of course, the daily is extended, and the hourly is extended. So we can't really justify it other than saying, all right, take a look at that weekly. I would buy it on any type of pullback. This is something I love trading this one. Do we get a pullback to 92? I don't think so. I think a lot of these are set up to go. You know, so these are all, you know, buy setups. It's just a matter of you want to wait for that 60-minute rotation to get your opportunity, or you want to try to wait for a daily rotation, which I don't think is going to happen, because I think that weekly now is going to start to take over. And we have a much better longer-term trade here on CVS. I love that. Write that one down. Now there's a lot of other ones here that we typically sometimes watch. Discovery Network. Take a look at the weekly on Discovery and how organized that is. Every single weekly oversold level has led to a bounce. You know, I went back here and looked at all these. They all led to a bounce, and a pretty significant bounce too. This one chopped around a little, but it was actually a weekly divergence there. But this a nice move here. Remember, weekly moves. Weekly moves. That's a month. That's 3 months. That's 3 months. That's probably a month. That's 3 weeks. You know. At least you have that going for you. And again, we're right back down here. So I had to bring this to you. It's also kind of a double bottom here on the weekly, and it's almost a downward longer channel. But here is the daily, and the daily. You can actually put an argument in on this one. I don't mind it. I think it's $25. It keeps me out of it, but I definitely don't mind it. Now here's one I do like a lot. Fastenal, and I've been, it's funny because I've been watching it on the daily. It seems pretty boring to me, but I know that, I follow this stock a lot. I've traded it, as you can see back here, and now I am looking at that daily chart, and I was like, wow, it's just drifting here. And look at the weekly. The weekly here just came back down and made kind of this little double bottom, which it did back over here. But in this case, you had that little divergence or a double bottom. You bounced here, and then you dropped lower, and this kind of doubled out, pushed up a little. And then we had this nice rally. Now we kind of see that happen again here, plus this big reversal candle right here. So I actually think that Fastenal weekly is really good. We're not that far from all-time highs on this. And this is a nice pullback. This is a nice pullback. We're starting to turn back up. It's a flag. These are key. I think I did myself this week. I mean, it's not going to be, we're not going to say, well, we're going to get that big move this upcoming week, but this is definitely it helps out planning out a bigger time frame trade here, and might even be worth it. You're taking a vacation. These are the ones you feel like need to be in the market. Concentrate on your weekly time frame. This looks great. This is now the daily. Daily actually looks good. And I've always liked this Fastenal, so I like this pullback here, and I need to get back in this one too. I have a feeling that I'm going to be extremely busy early next week. Extremely busy. Patience paid off today, though. We didn't get into anything severe, but the things that we were in, they all started popping. I think this is a great next watch list coming up. Well, you remember Foxy? I put this one in the room today. Talked it was going to be on the watch list this week because of the divergence. I think I mentioned that on the early part of the video. But you can see the divergence here. The little reversal candle. If anything, it's a double bottom divergence. But the nice cross up here. We crossed above that 20 line and reversed back up here. Now, what's interesting about this, you have this longer downward trending thing, and then you have this channel down here and starting to push back up. But I want to call this a divergence, which I like, period. And then we're going to look at the weekly. And the weekly, as you can see, is just getting back down into an oversold level. Not 100% there, but very close to it. So, not interested. I think the other ones that we just talked about, the Fastenal, the CVS, are much better. So I'm not going to not messing around with this one. I shouldn't even bring it up if I'm not going to mess around with it. But I want to show it to you, just in case you're interested. How about Google? Google on the weekly. Talking about a long-term setup here. It doesn't rotate back down that often. I mean, if it touches that 20 line, that's a good thing. I mean, that thing rallies off of that, and then weekly move up here. And even though you might not say, "Well, it didn't really rally." What did it do? It went up. Oh, that's a big rally actually. That went from. I could do a percentage base move here. That was 14%. That was a 14% move on that weekly rotation. Then it moved back down. Then a little bounce. And this is really the first time it looks like we just tagged that 20 line. The pattern here is telling us, hey, this is just a consolidation pattern, a pullback pattern before we move higher. I mean, the writing's on the wall. This is a typical great pattern to pay attention to. There's nothing more than a great pullback. We've seen it so many times on other charts that it's a very obvious flag. And the combination of this and the flag tells me this is a continuation pattern for the week, waiting for the weekly to set up, and we're going to rotate, and the next big move is going to bring us to $1,000 on this. But is it going to happen next week? Maybe. The daily here is extended, and typically we don't go after a daily extended like that. So again, we're in this kind of a setup where most dailies and weeklies are extended, but our dailies and 60s are extended. We have to be very careful on our entries, and if you are and you want to get in, at least wait for your 60 rotation. But you gotta love that you love that weekly. Wow, weekly on Google doesn't come around too often. You can buy me a hamburger for that one. This is just a roadmap, This is the same thing. Here's Home Depot. A little flag. It never even came down. It rotated back down. It never really even came down here. So this thing hasn't rotated in such a long time. The last time it rotated was 2013, all the way back down, and that was, of course, way back here at $75. Now it's $134. This is our first time rotations. It already reacted. I mean, it's a beast. It's in beast mode right now. The crossover is textbook. It's a Picasso. You put it, hang that up on the wall. I mean, you just had to time that weekly. I'm glad I caught it now. I don't think it's too late. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. These are our great, great quality names that are set up on the weekly for a next big phase up. Will these stocks here kind of predict what the overall market is going to do? I believe it is, because we also concentrated on transports last week and said that JBHT, which was one of our HPS watch list setups, and it hit its target. And why was it? Well, the divergence channel. And whenever we see a divergence channel, we look for a breakout of that channel. And even though we are extended here, take a look at this weekly. I mean, that's pretty nice. And the overall trend has been up here. So I do like this. I like the trucking stocks. I like the trucking stocks going into the election. I think that'll be a factor. The rebuilding of America, to talk about that. No matter what happens, I think it's going to be a focus. I like it. Recent highs are 93. It's trading at 85. This weekly here looks like it's going to grind up. I think you got easy 2-3 points in here just on this move. Because you know what you're looking at? You're looking at a weekly. How often does the weekly really just start to turn up? And you might have a week consolidation. That's the thing. You got to understand that during this week, each candlestick represents the week, and you could actually, have a resting week. Remember that daily is going to rotate back and forth. The 60 is going to take time. It's going to go from here, from January, February, March, April, 3 months. But during that 3 months, you take a look at your daily here, January, February, March, April. Well, in this case, it was a very nice rally. But you'll see the rotations here happen faster on a daily than it is on a weekly. And you'll be able to do that. But here's your weekly. It's busting a move, and that's JBHT. And then that brings us full circle because we started off with LUV, another transport, and this transport here, the airlines, again, textbook pattern, oversold. I'm not that interested in it. Like I said, I think Fastenal, one of the best bets. CVS, one of the best bets. Biogen, one of the best bets. Eli Lilly, one of the best bets. And then I'll leave you with this because I'm rocking it this week. You got to admit, this is MasterCard. But boom goes the dynamite on MasterCard. And what I mean is, this is one that rarely gets oversold. And when it does, it just usually is just a time to get in for a big move. This is a flag breakout. We didn't do much here. We did move up here about 4 weeks in a row. It's not a big move. Remember, you could measure it out. It's about 5% move over a month's period. It's not much. But the odds here of a decent move are there, compared to here, which you could see a nice decent move on that rotation. The last rotation back here was a big pop. The last one was here. It was just a slight edge. But all of them gave you that positive move up. All of them. What's going to change today? Is it going to be something, a newsworthy event that's going to, stop these setups from happening? I think that's human nature that we always think of that. Just the time everything is perfect all the time until I get in, and then that's when everything goes to hell. I know how that feels. But believe me, this looks good. So again, MasterCard, let's put that on the list to follow up here. Now, got other ones here too are setting up here, but I'm going to pass on. I gave you so much, so many good things here. So going into next week, it's kind of a recap of a couple of different things. Loving the Fastenal, FAST. Going to get a position on that early in the morning, early Monday. Based off the weekly, based off the daily, not overextended, based off the channel here. Love it. I don't know. Probably be common and options. That's best bet number one. CVS. I continue to like CVS and will continue to trade this. I had CVS calls the last time. They kind of expired, but I'm going to put these out a little bit further. Yeah, this is looking really good too. And again, I tend to be caution when we get up there. But just like when we got up here, back here, we could still rally, and I think that's what we're going to do. So that weekly is actually a better setup for me right now. And that's something I don't normally do. So that's our second best bet. Fastenal, then CVS. Then I'm going to go with Biogen, BIIB. And again, the same situation. 60-minute, nice channel. The weekly all set up. And then right down the line to Eli Lilly, which is actually the best of breed, or the best chart actually, is Eli Lilly. And that's already crossed back up, and it's already, so I don't think you go wrong with that one. That has to be on the list. And of course, Gilead, GILD, has a divergence, and we're going to see how a weekly divergence plays out in this. Just remember, it's the pharmaceuticals and drug companies get affected by some of the political stuff that happens, and going into the election, we might see, we might see some term, these stocks here getting, stale because of that. Maybe people want things to resolve in the political arena before they take any serious consideration of the drugs again. But I'm thinking the opposite. I think we need to be in here, and it looks good. And then last we have Alexion, which again, weekly trend line. I'd like to do some more research on this because I'm not familiar with all the drugs. I like their price point. I like everything about it. The daily. We go out to the weekly here. You can see this thing came from nowhere. It's pulled back quite a bit, but look at this. How do you not love this? One last thing, because KSU is on the watch list, our HPS watch list, And that was a buy trigger. And you can see we're just chopping around here, but we're going to tag this next week. KSU, Kansas City Southern Railroad here. Nice flag. The buy trigger is almost ready to be triggered. I think that's good to go. This is a beautiful, beautiful chart here. So I just want to kind of remind you of that, because we're going to come over here and we're going to take a look at the weekly chart of this now. And the weekly chart is telling us the same thing. I said we have a good shot that we could get a nice weekly rotation like here. We've already kind of broke out of this little downward trend here. Kind of retraced, and now we're going to start this upward trend. So this looks good too. And with the transports that are setting up, the JBHT, the KSU, the other ones, well, that's going to help the overall markets also. So KSU, keep it on the list. I think we went over the other HPS ones that are still active on the watch list. Palo Alto Networks, PANW. I'm sorry for the length of this. Here's a weekly on this one too, by the way. The weekly on this is interesting because I wanted to talk to you about this one. We did take profits on this, and but it's still active, and we're going to get back into it and go out a little further. But we just had such good profits on it today that I decided to take it off. But as you can see, it's a perfect wedge pattern, divergence. It's perfect. It's going to move, and it's FTNT. Here's your weekly on this. This hasn't rotated back here. That's not set up like I wanted, but it was a nice move here. I'm watching this one also. Palo Alto Networks first, though. Well, let's leave it at that. I don't want to get too deep into other things. Palo Alto Networks still setting up. Biogen still on the watch list. Apple still on the watch list. And again, Apple. I didn't look at Apple Weekly. Yeah, Apple Weekly is actually quite bullish right now. It's actually bullish. It's a double bottom, just about a double bottom divergence too. So let's see how that plays out eventually too. All right. Hope everyone enjoyed this watch list. A little bit different. We've concentrated on the weekly. I want to try to follow up with a video of how to apply this to your IRA or any type of longer term portfolio. But until then, I'll see you Monday, and have a great weekend. Have a great summertime weekend. I'll see you then. If you have any questions, feel free to email ironaction@yahoo.com.